Hi, my name is Helen Bennett. I'm the founder of bulimiafreedom.com. Yes, I struggled with bulimia for 20 years. Yes, what I do now is I help people all over the world break free from the compulsion to binge, eat, and purge. That's what this video is for. And to get there, you're going to need to take action. So I'm going to ask you to put in the comments below what action you're going to take as a result of listening to this video. And then you got to get out there and do the work. Okay, I've been asked a few questions about me. If it helps, I will give you the answers. So the first question, what does eating look like for you now? Pretty simple. Most days, I'm pretty good at keying into what my body wants. So what that looks like, I guess, would be called intuitive eating. I'm really, really good at listening. So for the morning I wake up, I can tune in and check, am I hungry? Am I not hungry? And if I am, what do I want and how much do I need kind of to get me through to lunch, depending on my day. And oftentimes I end up craving, this morning was an exception, but usually I'm craving something savory in the morning. So I just roll with that. I might have a bit of leftover dinner from last night, or maybe make myself a sandwich or something. It's pretty chill. This morning, actually, weirdly, I was really into blueberries and peanut butter, which I love. And then lunch, same. It's like, what do I feel like? So let's look at it now. We're at 11:30 now. If I did a quick tummy check-in, which is just me really connecting for a second to see what physiologically am I wanting, as opposed to what mentally do I think I should be wanting. Physiologically right now, I can feel just not hungry. I had a really nice breakfast, but I'm also not feeling stuffed. I'm in a very comfortable place, which allows me to do a lot of work, which I love. If you were to say to me, Helen, what do you likely to want to eat for lunch right now? There's just nothing coming up for me because I'm just so not hungry, which if you told me 10 years ago that was even possible, that I would even feel not hungry ever, or that I would be able to just key in and eat something that would keep me really satisfied for a long time, I would have not believed you, to be quite frank. But this is what the power of practicing the skills and drills that I teach. And the very first one that we work on is tummy check-ins. And that's really the art of listening to our physiological and starting to learn. Because at first we don't really know what it all means and we can make mistakes. But really over time, with enough conscious effort and taking the time to check in and really go, okay, what is my body? Where is it at? And what would it like to be really comfortable until I'm going to eat again? So I find that that's a very powerful question, which I can ask. This morning, to be honest, when I checked in, I wasn't super hungry, but I do have a huge day ahead of me. And I just recognized that I needed to load up if I was going to get to 2 o'clock in the afternoon or beyond without distraction. Hunger is a very distracting physiological signal, as it should be. And I prefer not to feel that signal. I know in the past I used to get kind of a high off feeling that, but I do not anymore. I really enjoy feeling neutral as much as I can. I'm not a big fan of feeling stuffed or very hungry, although obviously it does happen. I've noticed though that when I'm under a lot of stress, it's very beneficial for me to have clear times of day that I'm checking in, feeding myself, checking in, feeding myself, because food is it helps me think straight if I've eaten a good meal, as opposed to just kind of nibbling. And B, I find the routine of those very clear moments in the day where that's for eating and that's for working or solving problems, whatever's coming up for me. I find having clear, let's sit down, let's have a meal is very helpful when I'm under a lot of stress. My tendency under stress is to be so busy trying to problem solve or deal with the stress that I tend to eat on the fly. And that's why I try and pull myself back. This is my work. I try and pull myself back and go, right, 9 o'clock, and I'll set an alarm. Midday, and I'll set an alarm. 6 o'clock, I'll set an alarm. And just be giving those times to notice, because I will do better at solving the thing causing me stress when I'm well nourished and well fed and making a concerted effort to eat what my body's asking for. I find it's even more important then to be nourished and not skip meals if I can avoid it. So that I've noticed is something that I still go to, these kind of religious tummy check-ins when I'm feeling very fearful, stressed out, anxious, whatever's coming up for me. I find it very helpful to do that. Do I still get urges to binge and purge? The answer is yes. And in fact, I had one recently in South Africa, a very stressful time period being with my mum. And I noticed that there were 2 days where not necessarily the urge to binge, but I just felt myself feeling inexplicably hungry. And I knew internally from all this experience that I could feel I wasn't actually physically hungry. The hunger was a need to soothe the feeling of fear and stress that was coming up for me in South Africa, and which was it was very high level. And I also didn't really have anywhere to outlet my stress. I was having to keep it to myself. And in doing so, I noticed that it woke up the need to eat as a way to feel better. And that was challenging. I'm not going to lie. I had to really pull all my skills out of the bag for that one. And I'm just being honest with you. I also had an experience when I went back onto the boats a couple of years ago where a very specific thing happened to me, which obviously brought up some old kind of trauma. And I remember so clearly that day just being in the galley, wanting to tear the galley apart. I just wanted to eat everything. And I could feel it was out of frustration and anger. And this is why when I work with people, there is a lot of recovery work that can be done with getting really good at dismissing the urge to binge, getting through the physiological desire and the dopamine levels, letting them balance out so you're not getting those huge cravings to binge and purge. But once that's done, I find it's very helpful to keep working with people to help really heal a lot of the stuff that brought this up in the first place. And the times we see big, powerful urges to binge and purge arise tend to be when old trauma is reawoken, when there's an experience of being back in a situation where it happened before, or being triggered, we'll use that word, by people we love in a very painful way. Then the old wiring of, oh, I want to use food to solve this problem does come up. And I'm very honest that it happens. However, as you go through and work through your recovery, instead of being scared of it happening, I'm actually a lot more embracing of it. And sometimes when I go back into old circumstances, I almost prepare and expect that I might experience something like that. And I just really have to do a lot of work of getting through and really doing the deep work of what's going on here. And in fact, in South Africa, when I was going through those days of just being like, felt like endless hunger. First of all, I was like, oh God, I remember what this feels like. Thank God I don't have that anymore. And secondly, what it did was force me to face what it was that was causing it, and then try and find a way to release the fear I was feeling, release the old stuff that was coming up for me. And that means uncomfortable conversations, asking people for help, reaching out to people to share what was coming up for me. So, you live and learn and grow. And these binge and purge urges, first of all, hardly any. Secondly, when they do come up, a big old opportunity to do more of the healing. So what I love about binge urges, as you go deep into recovery, is they become this really clear arrow that something needs work, healing, letting go. Mostly it just needs a bunch of love thrown at it, usually. But almost always it involves uncomfortable conversations or forgiveness around something very painful that's happened to you. So let the binge urges that happen down the line, if they come, everybody will be different. There are plenty of people out there who've been in recovery for years, so they don't get them anymore. I recognize that when I get them, it's every single time related to something from my past that's coming up for me that I haven't yet resolved, healed, forgiven, bottom line. So I don't ever enjoy them, but I do appreciate. So am I getting binge and purge urges every day? Hell no, not at all. Am I getting them once in a blue moon? Yes. Do I hope that one day I'll never have one again? I sure do. So bring it on. But if I do, I don't really care. It's just a sign that there's something that needs work, which is fine. Do you love yourself completely and fully? No. No. I love myself a hell of a lot more than I used to. I am so much less judgmental of myself. I'm also somebody physically now who can look in the mirror and be like, damn girl, which I just couldn't do in the past. I have no problem looking at my image in the mirror. I don't sit there and judge and nitpick at all the things that have gone wrong, although I could. In fact, sometimes I'm surprised when I go, oh my God, those wrinkles, have they been there all this time? Or So I clearly don't give too much of a crap about it. But do I love myself fully? Oh, no, I can already, as I asked myself that question, I could hear some little responses. And that's the work I do, right? It's to really 100% accept myself in the areas where I can feel there's resistance. And that's okay. That's the work. That's the work. And I feel every year my self appreciation and self love and self acceptance deepens a little more. And that's why I love coaching, because actually I work on it with clients. I see things in them that remind me of the work that still needs to be done for me. And I don't know that it ever gets done. I don't know if there's ever a there, but I do know at the end of every year, I can look back and go, wow, that's what's changed. That's the shift. I'm so grateful for that. And so it's cool. I don't mind if it takes the rest of my life and we never get to there. But what I do know for sure is I ain't dying hating my body. And I ain't dying thinking I'm a bad person. I will go to my grave now for sure as somebody who says, I did my best. I worked on it and I love myself truly deeply in a way that I couldn't have ever have accessed had it not been for the recovery journey that I was not forced to go on, but inevitably had to go on if I wanted to stop the behaviors. And so again, one can just stop the behaviors and you can call that recovery. But I think freedom, joy, self-love, which is all worth doing, comes with all this additional kind of deeper work. And residual binge or purge urges are the quickest guide to doing that work and really feeling that level of self-acceptance. Thanks, great question. Last one, do you still try to lose weight or do you have kind of normal motivational habits? Do I still try to lose weight? No, I've actually learned that trying to lose weight is the first and fastest way to wake up a disorder again. So even when I'm thinking about it, I get a little nervous because my body's like thinks it's going to go back into restriction. And the way I work is we really try and kill that desire to restrict, so that the body can just kind of figure itself out again, without being constantly threatened with starvation. And the few times that I have thought, oh, I'm just kicking so much recovery ass, let me lose some weight, I've just ended up falling off the horse again. So, and I know I had a client recently who said the same thing happened to her. And so this is how we learn. You do this work and you grow a little bit and you learn a little bit. And for most people, when they decide that they're not in a good enough body and they want to lose weight and they go at it hard, it wakes up some binge and purge urges, which, once you've done that, you don't want to go there again. It's not fun. So they learn to rather just be accepting and gentle. Now, my personal thing is, do I ever feel too big in my body? Do I ever feel fat? Yes, absolutely. Last year I injured my back, and that meant going from somebody who's always been really fit to somebody who I felt uncomfortable. I didn't feel strong anymore. Everything was loose and it wasn't enjoyable. Now I could have it for sure. I'm also thinking, what does this look like? What will people think? I'm not going to say that didn't happen, but I'm very good at just checking that at the door and really being about, what is my experience in my body right now? And what I knew that I needed to do was be gentle and be loving and really listen, because the back injury was telling me to go easy. And in fact, I was pretty much not exercising at all, which is not something I don't know that I've ever done it. So it just felt so physically uncomfortable. I hated feeling so weak. I hated all the pain that I was carrying around my back, but I knew that I was very determined to get my back on track. And I decided last year, and I've continued this journey, was I'm going to go as slowly as I need to. And that requires so much inner listening. And where I am now with that is, well, I don't know that there's been any weight change. I don't really care. What I do know is I'm slowly building back my strength. I'm slowly building back the musculature that I lost. And I'm really enjoying that. But something interesting has happened. I am kind of loving not being in a hyper fit body. I was so ripped, so fit for so long. And I enjoy that. That's a great feeling. But now I've changed. I don't know if it's getting older or what, but I like being able to move through the world, but I'm not feeling this desire and compulsion to be super fit anymore. Now, I might change that. I might find a sport that I love and really want to get good at it. But none of it is coming from a weight loss perspective. None of this is coming from a desire to be thin. Desire to be a certain shape. All of it's coming from, how does this make me feel? And so if I was going to have a bit of gratitude for the back injury, what it did is shake up my relationship with exercise big time. I thought it was already pretty good, but now it was just next level, and actively showed me a new way of feeling great in my body without all the heavy lifting, if it makes sense. So I'm on a slow rehabilitation journey with my back, and I'm enjoying the slowness of it. I'm enjoying that I'm starting to feel a little better, less pain, more strength. I enjoy that. But there's a big part of me that's like, I don't know if I want to go too far beyond this. I kind of like this very moderate level of intensity and loading. So that's been a surprise. So I hope that answers your question. Just last bit on that. Normal, I would say the normal these days is obsessive. And the normal these days is having so much desire for weight loss and all this. And I would say I'm absolutely abnormal, because I actively enjoy rest. I enjoy exercise. I enjoy eating in connection with my body. And I don't know many people who feel that way. So I'm feeling like what I love to do and what feels really good for me and doesn't have all the obsession and compulsion around it, is probably abnormal. So I would encourage you to be abnormal in that you're going to be one of the few human beings who has a great relationship with food, loves your body and enjoys exercising, but enjoys some rest too. All right. Thank you for those questions. And if you guys watching this have any cues, please pop them in the comments, and when I find some time, I'll shoot a little video to answer those and I will tag you. All righty. Adios. If you're struggling and you think you can do this alone, there's a good chance you're going to still be there a year's time in the same position. And I know this because I did it for way too long. I got a ton of help along the way. And if you think that I might be able to help you, if you resonate with the content and you've watched a few videos and you're feeling like, damn, this chick knows what she's talking about and I think she can help me, then I'm going to encourage you to take another action. Go to bulimiafreedom.com straight away and check out the programs that we offer. We've got DIY, group, and private. So whatever it takes, floats your boat, whatever think's going to work for you, that's what we've got there. And I promise you, those programs get results for the people who take, you guessed it, consistent action. They show up, they do the work, and they're persistent AF. So if you think that that is what you need to get the results you're looking for, to feel the freedom that I'm constantly bleating on about in my videos, then please take that action, check it out, and I hope to see you soon. I hope you enjoyed that video. Here's to your freedom. Action, action, action. One action at a time.